Why did you construct this particular program for August 1st? Webern, Debussy, and Brahms.
Yes, this is a very interesting question because if you look at just simply the titles of the pieces, it might be difficult to understand how they are tied together. The Third Symphony of Brahms was actually a request from the OSM and from Lanaudière. The OSM and Lanaudière felt that this would be a very, very good work to offer for the Lanaudiere Festival, a festival that I know and love very much. I always cite the acoustics of the amphitheater wherever I go as this should be the model for how outdoor pavilions should be. And so with that as the base, and as you say, I've now completed 12 years of very, very intense research on historically informed performance practice of Brahms. Brahms was a composer that we performed in Montreal regularly. He remains very popular with Montreal and Quebec audiences. Obviously, also in all of North America, all of Europe, and all of Asia, Brahms is well known. And for me, it was interesting to have first been exposed to Brahms as a Californian through my German professor, later to record the four Brahms symphonies early on, then to move to Germany and to get a different perspective on Brahms, then to work quite intensely in Austria, specifically Vienna, to have a different perspective of Brahms, and finally now to be in the city and the region where Brahms spent most of his young adult life and childhood. This has been a remarkable influence. There's the Brahms Institute, very famous musicological center in the Hamburg area, where I immediately began to spend an enormous amount of time with the musicology staff there to try to understand what kind of influence the Hamburg cultural tradition had upon Brahms as a young boy, as a young adult. And this has had a very strong impact on the performance practice now that I relate together. My relationship with Brahms is defined very much by this Hamburg stage. Influences of French style, influence of Italian style, influences of Spanish style. This is not so well known, I would say, in the general public, but these are the influences that strongly influenced Italy, France, Austria, Spain, strongly influenced the Hamburg cultural tradition because of the fact that it was the only harbor in Hamburg. So these influences came in very strongly. Napoleon was 3 times in residence in Hamburg. So we feel this influence. And this is what hopefully we can share with the public on this visit. I'm very much looking forward to performing the Brahms Third Symphony, particularly with the OSM. And the Third Symphony is considered a very futuristic symphony composition by Brahms, one that looks forward and one that was greatly admired by Anton Webern and Arnold Schoenberg. So that's why Webern, work that was written in the early part of the 20th century, 1908, the Opus 1, Passacaglia, that's why it appears because of Webern's great admiration for Brahms and kind of, I would say, as a model, as a mentor. Their lives overlapped. And my question was, how did this influence other composers at the time? And that's why we included the Clarinet Rhapsody, because this was written nearly at the same time as the Webern Passacaglia, 5 years difference. And to see that what was happening at the very early part of the 20th century. Clarinet Rhapsody 1901, and the beginning of the Passacaglia 1907, so very, very closely related, and the influence of this 20th century feeling that the forward-looking Brahms might have had on these composers. So that was how this program came together.